Hello, Simply Support. It is your boy Joshua Stanier, joined by the wifelet Katherine Stanier. And in this video for Simply Support, I want to talk a little bit more about the role of support in my life. And the reason I want to do this is because for the last 15 minutes before recording this, Kate and I have just been discussing this whole venture. Is it working? Is it worth doing? Is it worth pursuing? Are people listening? And one thing that often pops up in this role as a supporter, especially when it's in a public forum and especially when it's so new. And a lot of people don't really understand what support is. I didn't for a long time. As a supporter, it can feel quite isolating. And I know that Kate goes through that where she doesn't really know why she's doing this or if it's what she should be doing with her time. And I go through that too. And as you, as the viewer, or somebody in the community right now, you might be wondering, like, what is the actual role of support and how how could it benefit you? And then how does it work? Because it is quite abstract. And the reason I want to do this video is definitely for you as the audience, but it's also for Kate because I think sometimes she just doesn't know what it is that she does for people. And she gets very stuck in her own head about some things, which is normal. And as my role as a support for her, I just wanted to make a public video about that. So does that make sense, Catherine? And welcome.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is the community meeting number 6,
Mhm.
maybe. So, we're 6 videos into what support means, and I had an idea of what I wanted to talk about on this video, but I have endless information and knowledge about how to support individuals. But the whole reason I started Simply with Support was not to just share broad based information to people, it was to connect with them one on one on a personal basis and to be able to provide that information in real time, because I can know everything or know nothing at all, but I could know something that would be useful for you, but how am I supposed to translate that to you if I'm not on the phone with you, talking with you, or Joshua is on the phone talking with you? Um, so sometimes when I'm just sharing information just to share it in a public way, it makes me feel uncomfortable because I'm like, oh, I just don't want to be pouring information out that isn't actually useful for the individual, because I don't know what each one of you needs unless I talk to you on the phone almost.
Yeah, and I think part of the problem that Kate is experiencing is that people don't know what they need and they don't know what support they do need. I know I didn't for a long time. So I guess I'll just jump into a story hoping to inspire people to realize the value of support and then seek getting it. And I guess create a feedback loop for us as this project continues because this does take resources. This isn't something that just happens. Like if you're watching this video, it just is a video on YouTube or video in the community, but behind the scenes, there's planning, there's time, there's resources, there's effort that goes into this whole thing, and it is good to create a feedback loop. So I want that to happen. So let's talk about what support is, and how it could be the thing that's for you, I guess. So let's just jump into it. On Friday morning, I woke up and for the first time ever in my adult life, I actually had very vivid thoughts about suicide. And that's very heavy, I know. And it's something that I never considered would happen to me. How could that happen to somebody like me? That's what I used to think. But it did happen and it was really weird. And obviously, if anybody's been through that, I now feel what you feel. And it's obviously very overwhelming. And it came with emotions that I just did not have a clue what to do with, to be honest. I was like, damn, how do I feel this way? And what do I do to get out of it? And it's always interesting to me as somebody who's done so much support work to find yourself in that place because it kind of amplifies and you think that you shouldn't be there because you're the supporter. But that's where I was, and that was Friday the first. Is that the first? Yeah, the first of the month. I was like, damn, what a way to start the month. And I was really struggling. And when I go through those periods of emotions I don't understand, I get very quiet, which may be hard to understand or believe if you have met me personally, because I'm always quite chatty and I obviously do these videos, but I was silent for many hours and Kate was there. She knew something was going on, but I didn't feel ready to talk to her because I just didn't know what to do with these emotions. So I went for a walk, spent time trying to process this alone. And honestly, I really struggled. It just got worse and worse. The more and more I thought about it, the worse and worse it got. And it was like reaching boiling point. I was like, damn, I don't know what to do here. And I came home, and luckily for me, and I feel grateful every single day, is that I had Kate there in the flesh, in person, as my support structure. So she didn't rush me into talking, which is something she tends to do in the online world because the feedback loops and the immediacy of online. She wants people to talk to her straight away. But what I want you to know is that if you feel uncomfortable talking to Kate or me, I understand, because it's fucking hard to talk about this shit sometimes when you're going through it. And when the emotions don't make sense and nothing makes sense, I understand it's hard to raise your hand and be like, hello, can I have support, please? But if you don't do that, then it is impossible to get the support. And I just asked Kate on Friday, or did I ask? I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure I set the intention of asking Kate for help to support me through what I was going through. And then she did. And for the following, I don't know how long it was, but we just sat and we just talked for 2 hours, maybe 90 minutes. And the emotions just poured out of me. And Kate, through, I don't really know how, you could say it's through training, experience, all the different things. And I'm not even being biased, this is just true, was able to guide me through not just listening. And this is the difference between a trained supporter and just somebody that will just lend an ear, is that Kate was able to guide me through my emotions, find the cause of them, and then heal that relationship in real time. So through that 90-minute period, not only did I start to feel better, I realized that I wouldn't have to, or probably won't have to be in those emotions again, unless there's something else that I don't know about from my past or, current belief systems. So to have that and talk through it, and then to fit that, and then by midday on Friday, so I woke up about 6 o'clock. That's about 6 o'clock, feeling literally suicidal for the first time ever in my adult life, to then by noon feel back to just normal and just lived my day. And we just went about and did my day. And I was just like, man. And when it got to the evening, we sat down for our evening feast and we always talked to each other about the day. I was like, man, that's hard to believe that that is just today. And even though I've never had those suicidal thoughts before, I've definitely had negative emotions and negative things, apathy, depression, all of these things last for a long time, not just a day, weeks, months, arguably years for me. And I know for some people it's been decades, because you get caught in your own echo chamber and you get caught just saying the same thing over and over to yourself and expecting things to change, but it doesn't. And then when you get supported and you have somebody in your corner that actually fucking cares, and life is so busy, and this is another reason that, I understand it can be difficult to get on the phone and there's life happening, life is busy, but to have somebody in your corner that's there to listen and guide you through it and actually cares and wants you to feel better, it's like, that's hard to put into words until you've experienced it. And when you've experienced it, you just want to give it to more people. And that's why we keep showing. Kate just asked me before this call, she was like, do you feel ready and do you want to do this? I was like, well, yeah, of course I do. Of course I want to do this, because it doesn't really matter how many people watch this or any of those things. It's just, if somebody's out there and they're, getting pulled into a whirlpool and this video is a rope with a life buoy on there to pull them in, that's exactly what happened to me on Friday. And that's why I was an advocate of helping Kate set this up, because I was like, damn, the shit that you do for me, no one's ever done before. And I've had people help me in the past, but not quite like Kate. And you know, it's difficult when you're married to somebody and then you make videos together, because it can be so biased. But it is that way, and some other people have seen this in real time. Kate do this for me, and I can do this for Kate too. But we want to do this for you, and that's why we do this. But that turnaround and that processing and just the overall perspective shift that I had from just one conversation, I was like, fucking now. I was like, that's so wild that that can happen. And I think with the world as it is right now, the world needs more of that. So if you feel that you need that, and it doesn't have to be so low on the emotional scale, it could be that you're just feeling bored all the time and you're not happy or comfortable. Having a support team there to encourage you, guide you, and be there for you, I think honestly is one of the biggest missing pieces in the world right now, in the emotional well-being of a human. It's designed to be supported and together as a community, communal animal. It's not just an isolated. We're not lone wolves. Lone wolf dies. Wolf in the pack is okay. So that's why we keep doing this video, and I hope this is giving some context, because it can be difficult to reach out. it really can be difficult to reach out and have courage to like raise your hand and be like, I'm going through some shit. Can somebody talk to me? But that is why we're here, and that's why we keep showing up. And we've got so many other projects that we're working on. That this Simply Support action, like the Simply Support vision, as we spoke about last week, is very much happening in real time, behind the scenes, offline. So this front-facing, like online stuff, it is becoming a smaller and smaller piece of what we can give our attention to, because it is difficult to just keep doing it without feedback. And that's why we have the button. So it kind of puts the responsibility back on you. You know, you have all of the, literally, you can click a button below this video, get directed straight away, and have support. So you could, and the way this literally did happen to me before I was married to Kate, is that when I was going through some times or I needed perspective, Kate had a group back then that I could literally just pop up in and be like, hey Kate, can you help me? And she was like, yeah, of course. And then we'd talk and then she'd help me out. And that's been happening for years for me. And I feel very lucky about that. But you have that right now. You have that same thing. So if you're wondering like what support is, what it does, it's just that it creates a completely different space, and you do become a product of your environment. So if you keep hearing the same things over and over again, and you have the same thing in your head, and everybody you ask about gives you the same thing, and nothing's getting better, or it's not changing, you're not moving to where you want to go, it's like, just raise a ticket and just speak to somebody else. It's free. Like, what are you waiting for? I don't know. It's just I understand it's difficult, but have the courage to reach out. And I just wanted Kate to know that that's why we keep doing this. It's because I believe that what happened to me on Friday many times in the past is like why I feel so good about my life the rest of the time, because we work through those things together. It's not alone.
Mm.
Um, so
Thank you for sharing that, Joshua. I really appreciate it. And anyone that has thought of suicide before, you're not alone. Between me and Joshua, my thoughts of suicide had come way earlier in my journey, and that character still exists. But I take care of her and I hold her to make sure she
which
knows
is,
she's
yeah.
loved on this earth. And I so I really appreciate you bringing up that aspect, because we are talking about big human concepts, but it's not always about the sad or the angry or whatever. This is Aldo.
Yeah, it's not
You
always
know
about
Aldo.
that. Yeah, it isn't
But
always about that.
you are the 5 people that you spend the most time with, and me and Joshua are like the same person because we spend so much time together. But if you and your 5 people are
Just letting the cat
not
out.
feeling supported, or you feel like you're getting the same perspectives over and over again, or feel like you don't actually have the space to talk about the things, that's where I feel like I want to be your fifth person, or I want Joshua to be your fifth person. I just want someone on the other side of whatever you're experiencing to be able to uplift you, make you feel lighter, make you feel supported in this world and not so alone in your endeavors. And it's just something that I've seen from experience. After most calls I ask with people, I'm like, what did you find useful about our time together? What did you get from it? And every single person says, I just enjoyed being able to talk
And be heard. Yeah.
and be heard and have the space to talk about the things that are on my mind that I just can't sort out on my own, and my friends can't help me sort out, and my lover can't help me sort out, and my family can't help me sort out. It's like, oh, okay, well, sweet. I'm glad I could provide that space for
Mm.
you. That's all I realistically want to be able to do, is provide you space, ask you questions so that you don't feel stuck exactly where you're at, um, and not alone in your efforts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, okay. That's just a reminder that you can split test talking with us at any given point.
Yeah, and also one thing that we do want to ask, that we haven't asked before, is that if you've been in the community, or you hear this message and it resonates with you, please feel free to invite other people. This is a non-profit mission to help support more humans in the world. So if you know somebody out there, you meet somebody that's struggling, or you meet somebody that's like doing well but nobody's listening, or pretty much anybody you think needs support, please feel free to refer them to us. And they're by proxy you, if you're part of the community. But yeah, it's a very abstract thing, is support, and it's very intangible. And in a world so driven by the tangibility of money, even though money's not technically tangible, comparing it to support it's a harder sell. It is a harder sell. It's
Mhm.
funny because it's a harder sell and you don't make money from it. So it's easy to sell things for money for the most part. But that is what support is, and I think it's very, very important. And we're just going to keep moving forward and offering it and growing from there.
Yeah, we're just going to continue to be here. And so if you want personalized support, we're here.
We got you.
We gotcha. So enjoy the rest of your Monday. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you Wednesday for a Q&A. If you have any questions that you want answered, please pose them in the community because I want these questions to be community driven. Like I said, I can spit content for days, but I want it to be about what you want to hear about.
Yeah. All right, cool. Much love.
Okay,
Thanks for
much
watching.
love. Bye bye.
Peace.